Hello guys, Jory here, and today I'm here to make a tier list for survivors in a matchup versus Bonbon. Uh, well, for those of you who don't know me, aka everyone, I'm a Bonbon main. I play on NAU, and I honestly am not that relevant. I am not super dedicated to the game. I don't really like grinding a lot, so my highest tier was Dragon, and I feel like I know at least sufficient to help someone start with Bonbon and get their game going. So, for those of you who want to learn it, I'm here to help. So, I put the tiers here. I know people usually in the IV community don't like D tier, and it's usually just C, B, A, S. But I put S++ because I feel like there are characters that are actually really relevant. Meanwhile, there are other characters who are very irrelevant, aka very bad against him. So I think it's important to highlight the characters that are good. And starting with Lucky Guy, I would put him on B tier. I think his versatility helps him get away from Bonbon kind of easily. And in any case, the game is not in a very good situation for him, he can still do enough. Like, you don't need a gun, you can get a wand, elbow pad, whatever. Everything can help. If you have to rock height, then yeah, you will probably go down pretty quickly. But you have to gamble, right? That's the point of the character. I put him in B because of gambling, but imagine that he can be in his best state, probably an A tier. In his worst, probably a D tier. So now we have Doctor, and I would say Doctor is also B tier. I don't know if she's better or worse than Bonbon, but the thing that is broken about her is that when she takes chip damage, she gets a boost of move speed. So she actually runs really fast, and depending on the zone that you are, this actually makes a lot of difference. Imagine that this skill is actually like an extra Windows boost or palette speed boost, so it's really strong. However, at the end of the day, it's still a doctor, and they can't really go too far. They can maybe pull a heal, but honestly, that hasn't happened to me yet. However, I don't know, maybe there is some godlike doctor there who can do it, or there's simply luck. I don't know, this game is a lot about luck, so yeah. Overall, B tier, rock height, really bad. Now I have lawyer. I'd say lawyer is A tier. He's good in the sense that I think one of the things that help him the most, mainly in the early game versus Bonbon, is his move speed buff. Because Bonbon is a really slow hunter, so it kind of gets annoying to chase a lawyer, mainly at the start. But if you go to the late game as well, he will have a lot of extra move speed, which can be really punishing to you. And I would say that the fact that he doesn't get terror shocks affects Bonbon in the sense of not when he's vaulting the windows, but actually when he's rescuing. Uh, Liar is an okay character to rescue as he doesn't get terror shocked. So a lot of Bonbon's gameplay relies on if you're not having as good of a game, you terror shock them. He's a really heavy terror shock character, and I feel like many of my games they win because people are simply too predictable. That's a skill that you develop playing Bonbon, and so I think he can counter him pretty well. Regardless, he's still kind of a rock hider, and he doesn't really highlight. Like he's not really a great character. I mean, he's a great character. He's just not too over the top to be an S or S plus plus tier. Maybe that would change in the future. I can make some final adjustments, but as of now, I would put him in A tier. Now the first I mean S plus plus character, whatever, is Thief. I would say that he's one of the biggest Bonbon counters, and the reason for that is that his flashlight is actually super good versus him specifically. The fact that you don't have any chips basically destroys your character. I know that, like, of course it works the same. Like, yeah, you don't have your skills, so you feel kind of useless. But Bonbon's whole kit surrounds his chips, so it's not really fair to go. I mean, it is fair, but it's just really annoying going against the Thief. And I feel like he suffers more than other characters because of that. Not only that, but you basically can't chase him, and he will support the kiter if they are in a good state. So basically, all the time when you're against the Thief, you're fucked. Now, Garner, I would say that she's a C tier character, or even a D tier when it comes to go against the Bonbon. Her Bobo is basically negligible. You're basically wasting either a chip or a hit on it. But one of the important things on Bonbon is actually getting to your first presence so you can remote control people. And her shield helps you reach that stage earlier, which means that you can unlock it to down her. Of course, if you think too deep, you can say, oh, she made you waste a resource. But it will come back for the next chase or when someone comes to rescue. So, yeah, she's not really good. And I would say that breaking chairs is actually more relevant than the bubble because you need to chair people as soon as possible and eliminate them as soon as possible. And when she breaks a chair, she buffs the time. So yeah, it's kind of bad, but whatever. Most gardeners won't break the imported chairs. Now, Magician, I would say that he's A tier. I'm a big Magician fan. I was a Magician main, and I just think that overall he has a lot of potential for the whole game. He's an excellent character for rank. His move speed can help him after he uses a wand, of course, help him dodge some bombs. He can do a lot of mind games. The skill of having an illusion after he gets saved for the first time is pretty good. Uh, I just think the wand is a bit too weak to be super relevant, but he can body block. I don't think he's a B tier character because the wand is a good item, it's just not super good. So I would put him in A tier. Now, Explorer, I would put him in S tier. The reason for that is that, well, he can hide, and time is a really important thing when it comes to playing Bonbon. So you don't want to waste time, and you don't want to chase the Explorer. I think he has the downside of having to spend time collecting the page to then uh, decode the cipher. But at the end of the day, it's a trade-off, right? Like he collects for some seconds, it can be in the wait that he's going to another cipher, so it basically doesn't waste as much time. So I would say that if you don't chase him, you're basically screwed. If you chase him, unless you find him immediately, you're also screwed. And you don't want to waste time, so you have to go to someone else. And well, to the time, there's already like two ciphers at 50%, and you're screwed. Now, the next character is Mercenary. I would put him on B tier. I think this might be a bit controversial, but every mercenary is very predictable with their terror shocks. I mean, when they get rescued, that it results in them getting terror shocked. And the thing is, mercenary can actually get terror shocked and die immediately when it comes to chip hunters. So, Bonbon, which is a character that usually chips the survivor before they arrive to the chair means that a mercenary can't rescue safely and they will get desperate, hence, you will land a terror shock. So he's still good when it comes to getting away from you, right? Like kiting. You can chase a mercenary if you want, but it's not really optimal. Hence, he's not a good rescuer, and he works better kiting, but will never chase a mercenary. So, like, he's just the famous "oh reliable." He can still work, which is why he's on B tier, and I would say he's better than these two, of course. But he's not as good as another rescuer that will come eventually. Now, Priestess, I would say most of the time she is S tier. Uh, Priestess is just too good. I don't need to explain why she is good, regardless of the hunter you're playing. But there is one map that she sucks, which is Arms Factory. And Bonbon can perform really well depending on that map. Like, it really depends if you can snipe your bombs pretty well because the places are kind of closed. So if your precision is really good, you can completely destroy her in that map. Even if there are not too many good areas to portal, so you're highly unlikely to get like portal mind games or not be able to chase her. Overall, Priest is still pretty good, mainly on larger maps where, well, you're slow, so you're very debilitated. And so I would still put her at S tier, but she's definitely worse than Explorer due to her weakness of one map, and that map can actually really help you if she is in there because she's actually a really weak kiter there. Now Coordinator, I would say she's like probably A tier. There's also another benefit that I didn't mention from Mercenary, which is the vaulting buff. Coordinator also has this, Lawyer also has this, which helps. I mean, Lawyer doesn't get terror shocked, but helps them not get terror shocked. So when it comes to kiting, they are pretty good. And her gun depends, right? You can get shot after rescue, there's nothing to do. However, usually what I like to do versus coordinators, I actually like to bring uh excitement, even though I don't play trump card nowadays, but like when I did, I would bring excitement and just go after her. Most of the time they were in a risky position, so many don't take into account sorry the time of excitement, and it ends up being too late when they're gonna shoot you. So yeah, I would say she's like good, but she could be on like the top of B tier. I just think she's better than the characters that are gonna be on B tier. She's like low A. Now mechanic, I would put her on S tier. Uh, uh Bonbon and mechanic are characters that have shared the meta for so long, and I feel like she is what like make Bonbon a bit weak because she always has that fifth player with her, and unless she doesn't deploy the robot, you're really screwed. Games against her are usually really fast because she has the robot. I think actually, like, I don't know if I put her on S plus plus or S, but Mechanic is an overall pretty weak character, which is why I think it's not really fair of putting her on S tier. I mean S plus plus tier. So she can stay on S. I think she's pretty good, and since Cypher Rush is the main counter to Bonbon, I think she excels at that pretty good. Now forward. So forward is most of the time C tier versus Bonbon. The reason for that is that Bonbon can prevent every fucking stun, with his bombs. He's not terrible. I would say he's better than Gardner because if he lands a stun, it's good. You know, a forward stun is always good. So if he can land that, it's a win. However, most of the time he can't, which ends up basically having a -1 character. Now, of course, if you chase him, you are screwed. Don't chase a forward. However, you aren't going to chase him. I know you won't. So, yeah, stick up to that, and it's all good. Now, Mind's Eye and D tier, I don't need to explain. She's the worst character in the game, and if she hides, you lose. But it's a TME. She's easy to find in comparison to Explore. Perfumer, I would say she is. Mm, I will leave her at no. Yeah, C tier is her place. So I was thinking between B or C tier because a good perfumer can actually do quite well versus Bonbon, but many perfumers get mind gamed and they end up losing most of the time. So even if they heal a hit or heal a bomb, they will end up either get hit or getting bombed. So there's never a positive trade-off for perfumer unless you're messing up. Now, of course, the reason I would put her on B tier is because she stalls, but her stall is not necessarily really good, and her rescue is pretty bad. So yeah. And the next character to S++ tier, which is one of the characters I ban, is Cowboy. I think Cowboy is one of the best characters in the game, and against Bonbon, he's definitely one of the best as well. Now, the reason for that is after his buff, he became really scary because he can insta lasso, and I think this is one of the most important things for you to have in mind when you're playing Bonbon, which is the thing that matters the most is for you to chair someone as soon as possible. Because you're actually a hunter that is fighting against time. You're actually one that needs to chair fast and move on to the next survivor because you don't have a chase. You're basically ass and slow. So you have to be precise with your bombs and you have to be fast. But your character isn't fast. And this motherfucker makes your game slower if he lassos someone. You're wasting a lot of time. And then he buffs the the struggle and you lose the game. So there's no reason for him to not be good against Bonbon. But also, if you chase him, not only he has a decent chase, a decent kite as he can pallet. I mean, he can uh, use his lasso on pallets, but he can also use it on ciphers. And not only that, but his pallet stun is better naturally. He has a skill that improves it. So he's extremely good, and I hate him. I love his character, but I hate him. Okay. Now, female dancer, she is IVL's favorite Bonbon counter, right? She always gets banned in the first round. I mean, not in the first round. I mean, on the first row of bans versus Bonbon. You can usually tell it's a Bonbon when female dancer is banned. But she's S tier only. The reason for that is she's a better character when you have communication, and her kite is not really good. She's better for support or better for decoding. Uh, which means that if you can abuse her support, then yeah, you're gonna kind of eat the robot. However, if you're the one kiting, then yeah, maybe you're gonna get screwed up. Mainly if Bonbon cancels your spin, and you can also get bombed after the spin anyway. I'd say one of the advantages of Dancer is that like she also has that speed buff after she falls from a two-story area, which is pretty good because 2-star is actually really good versus Bonbon. So she also has that benefit. Now, to the next one, Seer. Uh, I would also put him on C tier. He's better than Perfumer. I was thinking of also putting him on B tier, but he can't be B tier because he's really shit at kiting. Like, he's one of the worst kiters in the game, at least when it comes to going against Bonbon, because I'm sure against single hit hunters, he is pretty scary. You can usually bomb him down before he gets the owl if you're really good, and he's basically a free kill. If he's in support, he's a bit more annoying because most seers will know how to owl immediately when you're gonna hit, so that can be pretty bad. But you can also usually farm a chip when you do that, so it's not as if he protects 100%. Now, on to the next one. We have Embalmer, and honestly, this is a character that I don't know where to put him. He kind of deserves a place of his own because Embalmer is Bonbon's counterpart of a survivor. Basically, both are the Thai gods, and they simply counter each other to a point where you can either call that a trust and be like, yeah, okay, you Thai, I Thai, we're buddies, or you can also say, holy shit, that's hell because they can't win. However, his kite is pretty ass. It's just that his support is really scary. And even if he kites, if he manages to put a bit of distance, his coughing can be really scary if you don't have warp available or teleport. I can't put him on S++ tier because he definitely isn't S++. But he simply is the character that puts Bonbon in check because they have the same function. For that reason, I'm gonna put him in S tier because he is pretty good when it comes to supporting, but when it comes to kiting, he's pretty bad. However, since they have the same function, it's like they're balancing both sides. So, of course, Thai is good, right? We're playing a Thai character. I mean, I don't really like the concept because I think every character is a win character. You just have to play right. But yeah, since in competitive he's a Thai character, whatever, let's call them both Thai characters at the end of the day. They both are Thai characters. Now, Prospector. This is another character I hate the most because there was one season where Prospector was an S tier survivor, and it was the season where I literally quit playing because he was so annoying. It was basically uncounterable. Uh, Again, I don't need to repeat the whole shtick. Wasting time equals good because Bonbon uh, has has a fight against time. So Prospector is pretty good. I would say that I don't know if you put him on S++ tier or S because you can still bomb him. He's really annoying. He can sit on the top of S as of now. He's super good. He has the buff of getting move speed when he gets around a metal, and really annoying stuns. It recharges really fast. It's just not really fair. Now, Enchantress A tier, probably no. I don't know if you can call her A tier actually. She's either bottom A. Mm, yeah, no, okay, B tier is better actually here. So Enchantress at the start might be a character. No, no, no. here, I think. Yeah, because Enchantress at the start might feel like she's really OP because she gets stuns based on every time she gets damaged, which by technicality counters Bonbon, right? Because you're chipping her and you're giving her free stuns. However, she's a really bad kiter, which kind of balances her. Uh, Also, most this is kind of like meta, right? Like, this doesn't matter in a match theoretically, but most enchanters players are pretty bad. Yeah, I guess I really don't know if she's a B or A because she theoretically counters Bonbon, but at the same time she's a really ass character. Yeah, like so after some thought, I think I would change Martha and Enchantress because I feel like Enchantress has better benefits than Coordinator, and it feels fair to have her next to Mercenary. Meanwhile, Enchantress recharges fast. Her stuns. Yeah. Now, Wildling. I would say he's A tier. Mm, I think here because he decodes really slowly, and that is a positive for you. And unless he's harassing pretty deeply, he won't be that much of a problem. He can feed you free presents if you don't play insolence. Uh, so I think it's pretty good uh, for you. However, if he can harass properly, it becomes hell, and you absolutely can't chase him. So I think A tier is a pretty balanced place for him to be. Now, Acrobat. This character is really hard to rate because he has some predictability to him, but I would say that he's S tier. His bombs are super good. He has at least four if he kites well, and the one that recharges while kiting is the one that counters you, which is the fire bomb. So yeah, I would put him here. He's overall pretty good. He's one of the best characters in the game, so it's no surprise that he is really good against Bonbon. And he can also rescue, and he doesn't need any kiting tools to be played as a kiter either way, which ends up being pretty advantageous for their team because he can take tide and still kite with no problems. So yeah, S tier it is. Now here's the best character in the game versus Bonbon, First Officer. Uh, if you ban Merc, stop banning Merc and ban First Officer. Certainly he's less popular, but he's way better. First of all, he has a decoding buff after he uses his stopwatches, which just by that is pretty good because he's a rescuer who has slow decoding, so him decoding faster than other rescuers is already a huge point. However, he's the only rescuer that can guaranteed rescue against the Bonbon. Why? Because his item actually gives him a 5 seconds tide turner, which means unless you get really stuffed way earlier than the rescue, you are guaranteed to rescue against the Bonbon. And also, you can't chase him. So yeah, S++ tier easily best character against Bonbon, and by far, at least for nowadays standards, best rescuer. Okay, I'm sorry I had to pause here. But next character, Barmaid. She used to be one of the worst characters against Bonbon. After her buff, which was multiple seasons ago, probably some of you didn't play when she was really bad against him. Nowadays, she is an A tier character. I'd say she's probably here. Uh, Speed leveling is absolutely fantastic, and being able to heal a hit or a chip, especially a chip if you're good, because some people heal chip and are pretty bad. But yeah, if you can heal a hit, fantastic. Healing a chip, sure, like it can help and it's quicker, so yeah. Uh, Overall, she's pretty good. She's a stall character. And yeah, stalling is good. Postman, C tier, I'd say. The fact that he can support other characters is pretty good. And his kiting is bad. I think with the buff, ironically, he's a bit worse because I think the slow is more effective. But like it's still Postman. He can still support people in a way that becomes really annoying. Now, another rescuer for you to play when going against a Bonbon, I'd say that it is Gravekeeper. And the only reason he's not S++ is because I feel like he's a bit predictable and he's just not a first officer, right? Like he needs to be extra to be an S++. And his shovel is not amazing. It's good. It's not amazing. Mm, yeah, like the the fact that they buffed him to tank two bombs is pretty good because before you could chase a Gravekeeper, now you can't really. Okay, fine. You can you deserve it, Andrew. You were on one of my first mains as well, so I like you. Uh, yeah, like the fact that you can't chip him down immediately after he gets into the shovel hurt Bonbon a bit, and his rescue is not amazing. I will be fair. I will be real here, real and frank. I don't like the way Gravekeeper rescues because yeah, he stalls during the chair, which is pretty good. Though you can bomb him, mainly after you reach the 6th threshold. But when he goes out of the shovel, I would say 80% of the time can tear shock him because you know that he will rescue immediately as he has the rescuing buff. Even if you don't tear shock him, you still hurt him. And you might have landed a bomb as well. So either way, he most likely won't be able to rescue again, which means that you kind of nullified him. I know it's the same for almost the same for first officer because he can also suffer from the same consequences, but he has a tight turner, unlike Gravekeeper. However, I think it's fair for him to be an S++ here, so yeah. Now, here I will be a bit biased, I think, because I don't know if other Bonbon players would agree with me, but I think this guy should be here. He's not the best decoder in the game, and he by far has a really shit kite. One of the worst kites in the game, by far. However, he has the best decoding when it comes to going against Bonbon. He's better than Mechanic, and he enables the rescuers to leave early to rescue because rescuers have naturally slower decoding, so you as a prisoner should buff their cipher so they are free earlier and they don't need to go back to their cipher decode. This means that you have more people roaming around earlier because the other person, the regular character that is also on your team, will be roaming a bit after the rescuer finishes his cipher, which then means that they are in a better position to rescue again. I think Prisoner is a really OP character when it comes to countering Bonbon, and I highly recommend banning him on what's the name? On Arms Factory, which is the only map that you won't ban Priestess, because he's a pretty popular character in the NAU, so that means that you're eliminating one of your biggest counters. And the fact that he's more popular than every other character here should help you overall. However, again, I will say terrible kiting, uh, shitty support can even bite him in the butt. But just because it's the same thing as mechanic, just because their decoding is so good against Bonbon, it shouldn't be ignored to be put on lower tiers. I know the mercenary is down here because he has a heavy drawback here as well, forwards as well. But the thing is, their main function gets countered. Meanwhile, prisoner's main function doesn't get countered if enabled, of course. I feel like it's really important to highlight how good prisoner is if you're not chasing him. Because you will notice that every game versus prisoner will go super fast if you're not chasing him. Now here we have another D tier character, entomologist. I would say the only reason she is a bit good is that she doesn't have trail, and that from afar can be pretty good. Also, the bees have uh, a higher move speed, which is pretty good, but she's terrible. She has nothing to offer versus Bonbon, of course. She's a super easy chase, and I I I, I feel like debuffing like Postman is better than buffing like Entomologist. Now, yeah, this. Now, Gardner is a bit better than Entomologist because she's a bit bulkier. So, yeah. Painter, D tier. Painter is not good against any hunter that I can think of. He's just one of the worst characters in the game, and probably will remain there. Uh, the paint buff, the painting buff, helped him a bit, but he's still bad. He doesn't have any resources to kite, and his item is 99%. 99 is unfair to say, but like I would say at least 75% of the time useless. Cause yeah, you can eat up a paint, but he, he might not even finish the paint before you kill him. So yeah, D tier definitely. Now Batter, I feel like he's another character that goes on S plus plus, and I feel like, oh my god, I hate this character, but like, oh god, this character traumatizes me, right? He's another reason where that I constantly think of putting when playing Bonbon. If he's free to harass, he's so broken. And when he activates Rage mode, he's basically a mini forward, and that's super good. Uh, the reason why he's better, way better than forward, is because he throws the ball from afar, so he doesn't have the risk of getting bombed or getting hit. He's a super safe harasser, and it's even less risky than Prospector because Prospector can mess up a gap magnet or mess up a stun. and whatever. Like overall, of course, Prospector is pretty good, but Batter is just way safer, way better. And unless the Batter is really bad, most of the time it can be at least annoying. Overall, really good character. Toy Merchant, um, I think she should be here, A tier. Yeah, here, most maps she's bad, but and so she won't be picked on bad maps, right? Like I know there are some people who are like toy merchants OTPs, just like how I am a Bonbon OTP. But if we are rational human beings, we're not picking her on every map, and we're picking her on the maps where you have abusable places to place the catapult. And guess what? One of the maps that she can abuse is Sacred Heart Hospital, which is your worst map. So yeah, she is good support. She's helpful, but only on the maps that she's good. On the maps that she's bad, she's just another character, and like she just stalls a bit with her catapult. Now, patient, I would say that he is A tier, top of A tier. His difference to acrobat is that his skill is his item actually is cancelable, which means that you can counter him, and which means that you have uh, an easier time chasing him. And he has the role of being like those kiter rescuers, just like Acrobat. So of course he's pretty good. He can build up space pretty quickly. He's overall pretty good. However, his problem is just that he can be countered, and so that puts him in A tier. Now for a psychologist, I would say that she's B tier. Uh, no, C tier. Her HP bonus can be good or bad. If she's first chase and you can down her before her extra life is gone, that actually fucks her unless someone rescues without tide. And considering that most matches have at least one tide and the tide goes usually for the first rescue, it means that overall you're pretty good. If you can mess up your first rescue, it means that you're basically good to go. And she's a rock hider, right? She doesn't have any resources for kiting. Only if there is a patient then she get a speed buff. But usually she doesn't have anything extra. Uh, it's at Seda because of course I like psychologists, but like being frank, being realistic, she's not a good character against Bonbon. She has her better matchups. Now, next goes Novelist, and I would say the Novelist is literally average. He doesn't excel at anything versus Bonbon. Like, he can maybe pallet stun you. But the thing is, you can counter him by placing a bomb where he teleports. And that usually happens because if he's using the book, you are close to him. So you're trading. And in my books, a chip is better than anything. Like, if you're putting damage on him, you're putting damage. So, yeah. Little girl, uh, she stays here with novelist, I guess. Her leaves are pretty good. Like, it's not amazing. It's pretty good. And her teleport actually is the clutch skill because it can help their team guarantee ties or wins. But general, it's just a little girl, another character who rock heights unless like when I mean, okay, she's not a rock hider because she has the leaves, but like without the leaves, she's nothing, you know? She's a bot, and most players are bots. So yeah. Now Whipping Clown, B tier, but he stays here. Uh, his rocket support is pretty good, and he can stun you. Like, what I mean by rocket support is running away. So he can either run away or harass you. Both are pretty good. And however, it's just like the thing is not as fast as it should be. I mean, I would hate if it was fast. I thought when Weeping Clown was released, I thought he was gonna be absolutely the new forward S tier character, but he wasn't, and he's actually pretty bad. Uh, his rocket, you can cancel his rocket with bombs, so kiting not really effective. Rescuing and harassing is way better, and supporting, of course. Like the problem is that he doesn't do anything super good, right? Like what he does is super good, but the effect is not super good. That's what I mean. Professor, I'd say he's like here. Uh, so he has a free chip scale, pretty good. Uh, he has one hit scale, which can be pretty good if you hit when he scales. I like Professor. I think he's a character that has potential. He's just that he's super gambling, like Lucky Guy. And if you're gonna play Professor, you could play Magician, you could play Acrobat. So yeah, I don't know. Antiquarian here, the most controversial character on the list, I would say. And honestly, this is a character that I think a lot about because I actually have debated whether she's a high tier or a low tier versus Bonbon with people. Uh, however, my opinion will most of the time be this one because before I had a different thought. Now I have one thought. One I like. Well, whatever. You guys get it. Now I have an opinion that is different from the one I had before, which is anti is boom here. C tier versus Bonbon. Disabling someone from hitting is super good. Zarm is absolutely broken. Flip, super good. Move speed bonus, super good. However, she's the opposite of Thief. Thief stops you from your main skill. She stops you from your assistant skills. The fact that she has to be still to stun you also means that she's not running away. So you can still bomb her unless she flips. So at the end of the day, she's not really good. Of course, downing someone by bombs is lower than by hitting, but hey, we take those, you know? We take getting advantage over the most broken character in the meta, right? I, and you can even cancel the bamboo if you put the bomb behind her. So, hey, you can still hit. It all depends on how lucky or how good you are. It depends on the situation, of course. Next character, Composer, I would put him on B tier as well. With well, I just noticed there are looking three characters of AOM here, but well, it is what it is, you know. I don't think I could put him here actually. The coding good, right? Uh, monkey brain, like it's like neuron activation. The coding good. Uh, but yeah, his speed is ass, right? He's not a really good character. but the coding is good. Journalist. No, I'm sure 99% of the Bonbon mains would disagree with me, but ARS. Eh, I would say she's A tier. No, S tier, S tier. Okay, let's put her in S tier. The reason I'm putting her on S tier is because her kiting is decent. The body block with Orphe is super broken, but you can still counter her by the bombs. However, it's unlikely that you're gonna chase journalists because usually they are on the they are on the kiting by bad kiting areas, but it's not interesting to chase her because depending on the map, she can be pretty good. Of course, bombs counter her, but she can block off with Orphe. Well, whatever, you get it. And her rescuing is super broken. Even with Max Berserker, depending on the distance, she still rescues before your tech recovery ends. I find her character pretty disgusting. Like the rescue Orphe is super broken. So to me, she will be an S tier against Bonbon. She can safely rescue, which is better than most characters. Like even First Officer has to put himself at a risk when rescuing. And her kiting is pretty good, but like she's just good. I mean, not good, right? Uh, great. All of her stats are great, which doesn't put her on S plus plus tier. She doesn't have anything that is like a highlight, let's say it like that. Now, Aeroplanist, if it was last meta, would be S plus plus tier easily. When he got released, he was S plus plus tier. Nowadays, A tier. Uh, Pretty solid, just doesn't create as much distance. Uh, he's good on two story, but yeah, that's how most characters are anyway. Patience is better, Acrobat is better, and well, yeah. Cheerleader, I'd say she's A tier, best A tier character. The move speed is really good, and the fact that she can reset and get another one immediately after is also amazing. However, it's just that, it's just that. And when she supports, most of the time you can down someone before 28, right? If you enable someone to reach 28, you're absolutely throwing. Uh, so yeah, I know that. Also, another good thing is when she supports, she gets a move speed bonus, but it's not as if she's like gaining super speed. It's just a bit more, which matters a bit. That's the best way to put it. So yeah, overall, she's a good character. She's her skills. It's kind of like journalist, except her skills are good and not great. That would be the best way to put it. Now, puppeteer, C tier. Uh, yeah, here. Yeah, chip hunters counter him. Many puppeteers don't know, but if you get bombed and hit by rescuing, the terror shock will immediately down you. Yeah, don't pick him. I don't know. He's not really good anyway against most hunters. Fire investigator. I'd say that he's B tier. Uh, his balls are like, oh my god, this his uh, fire guy balls are good. He can block off some places. So yeah, the firefighter balls are kind of good, but he's overall really weak and not worth playing. Now, last character, again, this character is a bit of like an incognito to me because I find pretty hard figuring out where to put her. Mainly because whilst she's weak, she can also be good. Her decoding is okay. I wouldn't say it's anything excellent. And you can kind of counter her kiting. The problem is that tracking her is a bit hard. Uh, Overall, okay, considering these characters are like still good, they're just not good against Bonbon, and she's like meh, but she is kind of good against Bonbon. I think she deserves to be at C tier. Like again, okay, how is she good against Bonbon? Because she can mind game him. However, you might not be mind gamed. In fact, she is not really difficult to track, but not the easiest one as well. Uh, However, it's just that, stealing the coding from a cipher is not really amazing. It can be good, of course, but it's not amazing. And starting a cipher with 10% is excellent, but I feel like there are better decoders to pick. Uh, I think overall this tier list is actually pretty good now that I'm looking at it. And I think like everyone is in a good placement, so I don't think there will be any changes. And I hope you enjoyed watching this video. I hope this video helped the whatever 10 people who play Bonbon or who want to play Bonbon. And if there's anything you disagree, feel free to comment and feel free to send hate comments as well, whatever. Uh, Feel free to do anything. I just hope that if you watch this, you learned something. And if you guys want tips for Bonbon, comment down what you need help, and I will try helping you guys out. Uh, that's it. Thank you so much.